let's try this again. So, I want to make a quick video showing how to do some soldering. I'm not the person to be making this video because my soldering skills are meh, but I figured, oh, it's working, you know, why not show someone else who may not know. This may not be the best video for it, but don't care. I'm making videos. Criticize me, say things, make me cry. So I already have little solder pads soldered. Let's clean him up a little bit. On those dudes. The top right guy, I guess I got a little excited. I don't need the top right. It's not used by the chip at all. Actually, let me just double check that that's what it is. Yep. And now the camera's probably out of focus. Will you focus? Whatever, it's good enough. So, we are going to first tin the pads. We've already tinned 5 of them. So I'm using a Weller WC100 with one of the finest tips I could find on Amazon. I'll put links to all the stuff I bought. Super fine tip, really nice for soldering this tiny stuff. So anyway, here we go. What I'm going to do is basically just put a little blob, sorry my hands are shaking a bit, put a little blob on the soldering iron. I'm going to pay attention to what side the blob is on. You can see right now the blob's kind of facing up. I want it facing down because I want to use gravity, stick it right on there, and I'm basically just going to touch it to the pad, loop, and the second I see it kind of melt out because it's going to adhere to the pad that's on there, I let go. And there it is, it's on there. So, I'm not going to try to use a magnifying glass because I did that earlier and it was a nightmare. So where are my other guys that I wanted to solder? Here, I guess I'm going to use these 3. Alright, so I'm going to solder onto this because I'm doing a test tonight to see how far I can bridge these guys without getting issues. Alright, so I'm going to be cutting and splicing a little bit here just to get some stuff ready because the camera's not exactly easy to move around quickly. So the next bit, I need a jumper. So essentially what I have here is wire from some Ethernet, RJ45. What I did was I stripped away some of the end here and basically just clipped it real close to the end, left off like a nub like that, maybe a little longer. Then I cut off a piece that size, and then using my fingers and the pliers I pushed the plastic sheeting up around it to make this little kind of pig in a blanket. And all I'm gonna do with this man right here is, and I think I can do this without any alligator clips or anything. Hopefully it won't jump around too much. Same technique as before, just going to pre-blob on the soldering iron, and hopefully it's gonna grab. Okay, maybe not, maybe need some more solder. Maybe a little more solder, there we go. Okay, and now we'll let go. We will make it let go. Let go. There we go. Maybe a little bit too much solder. I can just knock some of that off. Okay, get back into focus. There we go. Alright, let's try this way. I'm going to try a different technique here. Heat up from one side, add the solder to the other. No, that's definitely not going to work. Alright, we're going to go back to our first technique. Get off. We're going to blob, and then blob to heat up, and then add a little bit more, and then get off. Yeah. That looks nice. Okay. So here we are. We've got our LED. The black chip is closest to the bottom right now. The black chip is centered right above the data in. If we flip it over, this is how I think about them. Data in is in the middle on the bottom. Data out is in the middle on the bottom right. Bottom left is LED power. Power. Top right is chip power. Or top center is chip power. Top right is ground. So, first things first, we need to bridge the LED and the chip power, because for my purposes, they are getting the same thing. So I'm going to take my little bridgey man. I'm going to just drop him on there. I'm sure there's a better way of doing this, but I am an amateur. I'm just going to put him where I want him. Now this is just my stupid trick. I'm sure there's a better way of doing this. I'm just going to lay this across here. And just apply a tiny bit of heat. I think that should be good. Don't think I bridged. Maybe I did. Technically that pad isn't used for anything, but I'd rather be thorough. Let's just nudge him over. Come on, there we go. Nope, let go, let go. So, you don't want to apply heat too long. It doesn't look like it melted or anything. Good. You can see there at the top, plastic still all looks pretty happy and intact. Fall over. Alright, next step. Solder the bottom right LED power side. Alright, so again, this time I'm not even holding the bridge in place. I just want to, let's move all over the place, so I can't, nope. Let's see if I can get a better angle here for the camera. Okay. Does that look? That's a little better. My hand was probably right over the LED, so you couldn't see anything last time. So imagine this is the first solder. We're gonna just hold it in place and I'm gonna heat up the solder on here and the solder on the bottom guy and just bridge them together. And I'm going to take a look at this closely. Well, not pretty by any means, but everything is connected. I think that'll work. So here it is. You can see everything does look connected. Definitely not pretty, but don't care. Alright, so next step. Since this is going to be used for the long distance jamble testing, I'm going to take one of my 0.1 microfarad jamble things, cinema bobbers, capacitors, the 104. So I want this, I'm going to try and make this look as nice as possible. So I'm going to cut these leads pretty short. Cut them to about here. I don't know if I'll be able to make that work. Who knows? Do you know? I don't know. So I'm going to bend these guys out. I'm going to apply a little bit of solder to these guys. It'd probably be smart if I took Dustin's advice and used some like sticky tape or blue tack or something for this. Alright, so there's that guy. I'm just essentially what I'm doing by adding the solder. That was really dumb to try and shake it off that way. By adding the solder to the soldering iron first is it gives more conductivity on the soldering iron. If you can imagine, something wet is going to have way more surface area when it slaps up against this guy right here. And then once it grabs on, the whole thing is heated up immediately. And then you can add more solder with your little spool of whatever. So, I think I don't know if I'm going to be able to do this. I think I'm going to have to do it up here. Alright, so we need the cap to go between the top right and the bottom left. So basically right there is what we need. Bend these guys out a little further. You need it to go like right there. So since the more annoying, actually I should probably start with the simpler one. Whatever. You can see that, right? Yeah. So I'm gonna try to solder the top right dude. This is real stupid to try and do it this way. But stupid things are fun. Look at that. That was fun, right? And this guy, just because I have a big mound of solder over here in the first place, I think I'll just be able to bridge without doing much of anything. Yep. Look at that. I just kind of drug it over. So you can see we got the capacitors to the top right pad and to the bottom left pad, along with our jumper wire. And what this capacitor is essentially doing is just removing noise. Dustin posted earlier to me letting me know that he tried a couple in series without the cap, and they had no issue. So it looks like it's just a length issue, and that makes sense. The more length of wire you have, the more chance you have to have things get stuff. EMF noise, stuff things. Alright, so we've got our voltage, we've got our cap. I'm going to bend this cap up just a tiny bit to keep it away. You can see right here it's dangerously close to our power lead. In fact, I'm going to shove something in there to bend it up away even further. Just because, you know, words. Okay, so we got that. Everybody looks happy. I am now going to, what am I going to solder next? Oh, alright. So, I've got these cables. Here's a whole cable here. I'll zoom out. Yeah, I can zoom out. Cool. So, cable looks like that. 2 female ends. I have cut them in half, and I've already soldered them onto an LED I already did earlier today that actually I'm pretty proud of. When I'm not soldering in front of the camera, just because the camera's in the way, I was able to get a real nice solder job. Solder job sounds dirty. On this dude. You can see, ignoring the green melty point right there, but you can see I've got the jumper across the two pins. I've got the red and blue. I didn't have any red for the female side, but the red is the male voltage connector, blue is the female to jump to the next one, yellow is the male signal, orange is the female signal to go to the next one, and black and green is the male ground, black is the female ground. But you can see it's pretty nice looking. It's all nice and flat. Anyway, that's that. So here's our next guy. Let's zoom out a bit again. We've got these half dudes. I'm just going to strip off a tiny bit. Get. Okay. So we've got him there. Just like all the other solders we've been doing. Just going to... Is this in focus? Yeah. We'll zoom in a bit until... Move out the way. Alright, so just going to put a dab on my thing. Going to use that to conduct. And then just going to flow a bit more on here. That's pretty much all she wrote. I'm going to then clip off. Let's zoom out again. I'm going to clip off everything about, maybe leave 2 millimeters on. So I'm going to use, what did I use orange for? Orange was data out. So I'm going to treat it as data in, just to make things confusing. Alright, let's grab onto here. Move this up. Zoom this in. Refocus. Okay. And like I said, soldering in front of the camera is a much bigger pain than you would think because all the angles are weird. So hopefully, ta-da! Look at that. Just kind of touch them together, heating them up enough for them to be there, and that's nice and solid. I don't think he'll come off unless if I really hurt his feelings. And we're just gonna do the same with the next two. I'm just gonna clip off the black guy down here. I just won't even reposition the camera, I'll just refocus it and move it back further this way. That's how lazy I am. So lazy man. Alright, put a little bit of solder on my soldering iron. Heat you up. Come on, why don't you? There you go. There you go. And you can see, you can probably see in that one real well, that once the solder adheres to it, it wants to flow to it. It's not osmosis, but it's kind of, no, it's nothing like osmosis. But it just kind of flows to where there's heat. So especially if you're applying heat to it, the thing that you're trying to solder, you're going to see solder just kind of go like right to it. So this guy is going to be ground. He's going to be a lot easier to solder to. Yeah, look at that. Maybe move him up a little more. Do 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 do. Yeah, look at that. All right. Just because of the angle, I think this one's gonna be a lot easier. Hopefully. Just kind of, maybe I'll do it this way. Yeah, that'll be easier. Much easier. So, if you notice there, I was originally trying to heat up my pen and then have the heat transfer to the solder blob, which had all the other junk on it. It's generally a lot easier to heat up the solder blob and then shove things into it. So that's what happened there. Let's make sure he's nice and on there. Yep, everybody looks happy, nobody's crying. Let's do the last one here. Same thing, we'll just drop that. Refocus. There, bam. Alright. Just apply a little bit of solder to my soldering iron. Solder up thingies. Look at all the stuff. I'm singing words. Do-do-do. Alright. Here we go. It looks nice and happy. So, we've got signal. We've got... Ooh. Signal is awfully close. No, it'll be alright. Yeah, that'll be okay. Now we need voltage. I'm actually going to flip the whole thing upside down. Do not freak out. It's okay. I promise. Clip off a little bit of this man's just to leave. Maybe that's not even 2 millimeters. That may be just 1. So the order of operations here is also somewhat important, just due to laziness and gravity and stuff. Solder the pads. If the black chip is on the bottom facing away from you, you want to solder the bottom left, middle, bottom right if you're chaining to another one after that. If you're only doing one, you just need the 2 bottom left and middle. Then you always need the top middle and the top right. Then solder the jumper between the top middle, bottom left. Once the jumper's on there, then put the cap on top. Do one leg at a time, so that the reason why you're doing it that way and why the order of operations matters is so that it doesn't fall off. Because if you were to try to do the jumpers first and then try and solder to it, you'd be seeing all your wires fall off. Gravity is not your friend, unless if you got a ton of helping hands. So anyway, we're going to solder this guy on. I'm going to, actually, while we do it, I'm going to move this cap back a little bit. I'm just going to apply, my finger's going to be in the way, you won't be able to see anything, but I'm just going to be pulling my cap a tiny bit away. There. That makes me happier. It was just a little too close to the signal wire for my taste. So, signal wire, I'm just going to shove him in there. Just heat up the solder blob. Shove him right in. And that's it. So, that's pretty much it. We've got blue going to voltage. Oh, I called this signal wire a minute ago. This is voltage. Jumper going from bottom left to top middle. Cap going across bottom left to top right. We got our signal wire is the orange man, and that's pretty much it. At the end of this video, I guess I'll throw a quick clip of the conclusion to see how far I could get the between LEDs. The spec sheet says 5 meters, so I'm going to start with 10. And let's see if it still works. Okay, bye. Oh, hi there. So, here is the LED in action. Oops, out of focus again. This will give you a better look, though, once I do focus in. Yeah, look at that. Oh, so pretty. So pretty. Okay, anyway, so that's that. Let's come back out here. Oh, so let's I'll show you what I'm talk about words things. Okay, so I ran from that LED pad. They're going to jumpers, female cables, following the cable. If I zoom out, you can get a better view. So this is the length of our living room. Kind of a mess right now because I'm doing stuff. Here is the wire. We're still going, still going, still going, and here it is. This is 2 times the listed maximum distance in between pads.